Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's me again, Hog Trail, aka The GOAT, back for a surprise follow up next day edition of Git Good. As you recall, yesterday I uploaded the Evan Bourne video. I haven't gotten a chance to play any Raw Deal since then. So now let's see who we got this week. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. All right, this one will take some thought. All right, here we are in the Octagon deck builder. I've got Vince McMahon's cards loaded up, so let's go through them. Vince McMahon, 7 hand size, 4 superstar value. He is a chairman, and that means he can pack some special cards we'll go over. And his ability, you can pack Raw cards and SmackDown cards. Your cards titled No Chance in Hell are setup cards, and ignore the played from your opponent's hand text. You cannot play a maneuver unless it is a Fortitude 0 or foreign object maneuver. Your opponent cannot play any card with the word Vince in the title. So he's got a lot going on here. He gets Raw and SmackDown cards, which can be good depending on the build. I don't think I'll be having a ton of SmackDown cards in this deck, but it's nice to know that we're not limited to just one brand. No Chance in Hell being setups, again, isn't super important. I mean, 3 is still a lot of No Chance in Hells. It's not a must pack for me typically. I will obviously be putting them in here because, as you'll see, he'll get them for 0 Fortitude when I read the next card. So, I might drop like 4, maybe 5 if I'm feeling ambitious. But I'm not really holding myself to it because we got a lot of cards we're going to want to put into this deck. And with only a 60 card arsenal, it's going to be tough. You cannot play a maneuver unless it is Fortitude 0 or a foreign object maneuver. It's important to know that you can pack maneuvers that are not Fortitude 0 or foreign objects. You just cannot play them as maneuvers. So, you can pack Throwback Spinebuster. You just can't play it as a maneuver unless you can bring it down to 0 Fortitude. But you can play it as a reversal. And your opponent cannot play any card with Vince in the title. There's some pretty good cards with Vince in the title. Vince McMahon interferes and managed by Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon guest ringside announcer are pretty popular cards. They're very good. So can't play them against Vince. So let's add that. Remember who pays your salary. Backstage area. Search your arsenal for the card titled Don't Cross the Boss. Put it into your ringside pile and shuffle your arsenal. Your fortitude rating is considered to be less than your opponent's fortitude rating. So this is really Vince's special thing. He's always considered to have lower fortitude, even when he's equal or greater. He always has lower fortitude. There's a lot of cards, as you'll see throughout this video, that we're going to take advantage of using that mechanic. But first, let's look up Don't Cross the Boss. All right. So there's 2 different Don't Cross the Boss. I'll read the throwback one first. 6 Fortitude throwback action. When this card is in your ring area, if your opponent successfully plays an action, you may draw a card. That's simple enough. But remember, we put it into our ringside. Why is that important? I'll tell you. The original Don't Cross the Boss. When this card is in your ringside pile, your cards titled No Chance in Hell are -6 Fortitude, and put this card into your hand when you play the card titled No Chance in Hell. When this card is in your ring area, your cards titled No Chance in Hell are -6 Fortitude, and when your opponent successfully plays an action card, you may draw 1 card. When the card titled Managed by Vince McMahon is in your ring area, the maximum number of mid-match cards your opponent may have in his ring is reduced by 2. This is one of the few instances in Classic Raw Deal where the throwback is actually not as good as the original. The throwback is not active, and the original one is. But, I mean, do you really get an advantage for having more than 1 Don't cross the boss throwback in your ring, sure, I can draw 3 cards when my opponent plays an action. There's corner cases where that's useful, but it doesn't really seem worth 3 spots in your arsenal. However, this one, you know, we pack one of these. We'll get it at the very beginning of the game, and that'll give us a 0 Fortitude, No Chance in Hell. Because Throwback No Chance in Hell, its own text says it's -6 Fortitude when don't cross the bosses in your ringside. So that makes it -12 Fortitude, which makes it 0 Fortitude. So I'm just going to put this in the deck right now. Okay, let's get back. Add this to the backstage. Master of Promotion. Pre-match event. Your opponent chooses one of the following. His starting hand size is -3 and his superstar value is +3 once the game begins. He can only play one more pre-match card, and the maximum number of mid-match cards he may have in his ring area is increased by 1. Or the maximum number of pre-match cards he may have in his ring area is increased by 1, and you may look at his backlash deck, choose 2 mid-match cards, and he discards the chosen cards. This card has a lot of really good stuff. It makes your opponent make some really terrible decisions during the pre-match, which, as we'll go on, you'll see how many of these Vince McMahon can get, because he's got a number of them. You are likely going to want to play this card early to take full advantage of the second and or third choice. Because if your opponent only has like 1 pre-match card in his ring and you play this, he has to make the choice of, all right, I can only play 1 more pre-match, or my pre-match is -1, and then it gets really, really tough. So we'll add that. I'm Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Dammit. It's a multi-action / reversal for 5 Fortitude. As an action, your next card played this turn cannot be reversed. As a reversal, reverse any unique or superstar-specific card and end your opponent's turn. This is just a solid card. Both the action and reversal are good. You are likely going to want to use it as a reversal because it hits, you know, pretty much every trademark finisher, almost every superstar-specific, if you're being, you know, it does reverse any superstar-specific. Yeah, it's a good card. First family of professional wrestling. Pre-match event. Your pre-match cards with the word McMahon in the title have the added text of the maximum number of pre-match cards you may have in your ring is increased by 1. At the end of the pre-match phase, you may put 1 non-unique card from your opponent's ring area into his ringside pile. When this card is in your ring area, during your turn, you may put this card into your ringside pile and then search your arsenal for 1 superstar-specific card, reveal it to him, put it into your hand, and shuffle your arsenal. So this basically makes all of your McMahon pre-match free. It lets you get rid of 1 non-unique card in your opponent's ring, which now in virtual you see less and less of that, but still it gets rid of Old School Psychology, it gets rid of, you know, It's Showtime, it gets rid of Rules Are Meant to Be Broken, assuming it's in their ring when you resolve. And we'll get back to that in a minute. You know, Distractingly Divalicious is a card that I run more and more. So, you know, this can get rid of some pretty good stuff. And the ace is good, you know, start being able to search for superstar specific. As we've seen already, he's got a number of good ones. A Dynasty's Destiny, 12 Fortitude action / reversal. This card is -5 Fortitude when played by Vince McMahon. As an action, search your arsenal for 1 card, put it in your hand and shuffle. As a reversal, reverse any non-trademark finisher card and end your opponent's turn. It's another card where both parts of it are good. Being able to go search for any card or being able to reverse almost any card is super good. You'll see Vince McMahon's got some silly stuff. The Vinnie Mac Attack. It's a trademark finisher action multi. It's technically not hybrid because it has no effect as an action. It is just a maneuver that is part action. Vince McMahon can play this card despite his ability. Can only be played after a successfully played card or as a counter. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be packing this card. I'll add it for now, but just realize that It's really nothing special. Even back in Armageddon, it wasn't anything truly special. If we have room, we'll keep it, but I'm already thinking we're not going to have room, so. McManus Interruptus, 0 Fortitude mid-match reversal. Reverse any action card if it is your opponent's first card played of the turn, or reverse any activated card effect if he hasn't successfully played a card this turn. Put one card titled No Chance in Hell from your ringside pile into your hand. He overturns 10 cards. When one of those cards is a non-hybrid action card, he continues his turn. Otherwise, end his turn. This card is really good. The overturn 10 cannot be stopped. I personally like to save this card for the end of the game. Let's say opponent has like 8 cards left and he plays, you know, Here Comes the Cavalry. Then you say, all right, McManus interrupt us, overturn 10. And then you win by pin. The card's really good. It's good for business. 2 Fortitude action / reversal special. It is cheater for now. As an action, search your arsenal for one non-reversal card, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle your arsenal. As a reversal, when overturned, reverse any non-unique maneuver and end your opponent's turn. I do love a good overturn reversal, and this card is non-unique. For now, I'm going to add 3. But again, you know, we're already at 37, and we haven't even read through all of his cards. 0 Tolerance, Kiss My Magnificent Ass. It is a submission multi. It's fan favorite for now. 0 Fortitude, 0 damage. When successfully played, you may put one Fortitude 0 card from your opponent's ring area into his ringside pile, and your next card played this turn is -1 Fortitude and +1 damage for every card in your ring area with the word McMahon in the title. So on the surface, you might think, you know, it's okay. But, you know, getting rid of one Fortitude 0 card, including, you know, maybe your opponent has a starting Fortitude maneuver out there, or he has a really good pre-match card that's not permanent. You can get rid of it by making him kiss your ass. And then, my favorite part is your next card played is -1 Fortitude and +1 damage. That doesn't say your next maneuver. It says your next card. So if you have, you know, 8 McMahon cards in your ring, and you play an action, that's an 8 damage action. So I'm going to put 3 of them in right now. Again, we could take out 1 or 2, but I don't think we're going to. Here we go. Now we get to the virtual support. Vince McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club. Pre-match event. Cannot be blanked. Your opponent's managed by Eric Bischoff is blank. At the end of the pre-match phase, he may randomly discard 2 cards. If he does, draw up to 2 or put 1 card from your ringside pile into your hand. If he does not, before each of his draw segments, he overturns 1 card. Your 0 Tolerance Kiss My Magnificent Ass cards cannot be reversed by elbow to the face. This is a really good card. Making your opponent randomly discard 2, and if he does, you draw 2 or pick up a ringside card. If he doesn't, then he overturns 1 before each of his draw segments, so he can't even reverse that overturn. That's super powerful. And then, you know, Elbow to the Face is a card that I pack in pretty much every deck. And when you play a multi-0 damage submission, that's good elbow fodder. So, you know, this card is super good. Okay, the Extreme Chairman, aka Durag Vince. It is a ECW backstage card. When packing this card, your foreign objects and Vince McMahon specific cards are not fan favorite, cheater, or raw. During your turn, hide this card and then search your arsenal for 2 non-unique foreign object cards or 1 non-superstar specific unique foreign object card. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. So the best part about this card is that it gives you an ECW card in your backstage area, which lets you pack a couple of good cards, which we'll get to later. So we're definitely going to put that right there. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to just put ECW over here. Trait. ECW. All right, we'll get back to that. The Chairman's Power Walk to the Ring, another pre-match event, can be played during any pre-match phase. You begin the events phase, and you choose who resolves their pre-match cards first. Your next Vince McMahon specific card played this turn gains the text, your pre-match capacity is +2. Your remember who pays your salary cannot be blanked. When you are Vince McMahon, search your arsenal for the biggest grapefruits, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. We'll get to the biggest grapefruits in a second. So this card played during any event, and it gives you +2 pre-match, and you get to choose who resolves their pre-match first, if that's important to your strategy. Let's go down to Backlash. Good card. McMahon's $1 Million Mania. It is a 1 Fortitude action, mid-match action. It's also permanent and RMS. Your opponent cannot play reversals to this card. Once during each of your turns, you may put one non-backlash damage 0 card from your ring under this card, and he may draw 1 card, and then draw up to 2 cards or shuffle 3 cards from your ringside into your arsenal. When there are 5 cards under this card, remove it from the game and put the cards under it on the bottom of your arsenal. So there's a couple of things going on here. One, opponent cannot play reversals to it. So chances are this card is going to be successful. He could ace a card to reverse it, but, you know, unless he's Christian and he's got Christian shades, not much can get it. He could use rules are meant to be broken, but, again, you know, not much is going to hit this card. In the ace, you get to put a damage 0 card from your ring under it, which usually isn't the biggest thing in the world, and, you know, hint, hint, you can use it later when you bury the 5 cards that are under this card. And it gives you pretty consistent recovery, or it lets you keep your hand up if your opponent is a heavy discard deck. So yeah, this card is super good. McMahon's Lead Pipe Shot. It is a 8 Fortitude, 8 damage strike for an object / action. As a maneuver, this card is multi and can only be reversed by 2 reversal cards. As an action, this card is -8 Fortitude. Shuffle this card and up to 4 cards from your ringside into your arsenal, and your opponent overturns 2. I really like this card, especially as an action. Another card that gives you consistent reusable recovery, and it adds a burn effect to it. The Biggest Grapefruits. Remember, we can search for this card with the Power Walk. It's an action, 5 Fortitude. Your unique Vince McMahon specific action cards and your cards with Chairman in the text are -6 Fortitude and can only be reversed by unique reversal cards. Your opponent's Dirty Low Blow is +5 damage. That part is more of a joke than anything. But, you know, adding protection to your superstar specific or Chairman actions and making them cheaper is pretty good, especially when you can play this card for 0 Fortitude. Well, I mean, I guess you'll need 5 Fortitude for that, so I guess that doesn't make too much of a difference, but the protection it gives it is really good. Okay, this is another great card. Prophet of McMahonism. Look at your opponent's backlash, and when you find McMahonism, put that card into his ring, and he cannot play an allegiance. When you look at cards for McMahonism, look at up to 2 additional cards. When he looks at cards for McMahonism, he then overturns the same number of cards. He cannot play Backstage Shenanigans. This card just does everything good. You get backlash knowledge for your opponent, and he better hope that he's not playing McMahonism. When you look for McMahonism, you look at the top 2. We'll go over McMahonism in a second because that's really good as well. When he looks for McMahonism, he overturns that many. So if your opponent has McMahonism and he's going to draw, 4 cards, he looks at the top 4, puts them in any order, and then overturns 4, and then draws whatever. And he can't play Backstage Shenanigans, so you're not going to skip your first turn via that card. The Chairman's Judgment, his last superstar specific. It is a 12 Fortitude reversal non-maneuver card. When the reverse card is not a setup or follow-up, put it under this card face up. When your opponent plays an action or antic with the same title as the card under this card, it is blank. During his turn, he may overturn 3 cards and discard 1, and then you put the card under this card into his ringside. You know, it's fine. It's a good reversal. You know, it's not the best card in the world, but it's certainly not the worst. All right, so that's his specifics, but we're not done talking about stuff that he gets. I have a bunch of tabs up here to remind me of what I'm looking for. All right, so these cards are cards with fortitude in the text, and most of them have lower fortitude, which we'll get to. All right, here's the non-superstar specific McMahon cards, and we'll see if we want to pack any of these. McMahon Helmsley era, no, it's an old card that's not very good. Backed by Stephanie McMahon is interesting. It's recovery and it is burn. And as you'll see, Vince McMahon already has a few. He has a few burn mechanics. So, you know, we can keep this one in the back of our heads. But look, we're already at 43 Arsenal cards, so we're going to have to do some heavy trimming. I'll put in 2 backed by Stephanie's now. But like I said, we're going to have to trim. Backed by Mr. McMahon, that's the original. We'll look at the throwback in 1 minute. Signed contract with Linda. We are heel, so we're not going to be using this one. Managed by Stephanie is not a good card. Managed by Vince. Again, this is the original. We are going to look at the throwback. Stephanie McMahon decrees. No purpose in us packing that. Don't Cross McMahon is a super underrated card. It's a 3 fortitude mid-match reversal. You can only play it if Backstage Politics or a card with McMahon in the title is in your ring. And it reverses any action card of printed 5 fortitude or greater. And when you have Managed by Vince McMahon in your ring, your mid-match is +1. So it basically plays for free, and it reverses an action of 5 fortitude or greater. That's good, good, good. I'm going to put 2 in, but mid-match is going to be tight as well, so we might not get it. Vince McMahon interferes. This card's really good as well. Can only be played when your value is 3 or greater and also greater than your opponent's. When this card is in your ring area during your turn, you can ace it to your ringside, and your next non-unique card is -12 fortitude, and that's during any turn. So yeah, that's good. We are going to need a greater value, but we're a 4 right now, and we might have a title belt that we're going to put in, so we can add that. McMahon Family Values, a 0 fortitude unique action. Shuffle up to 3 of your cards that have been removed from the game into your arsenal, or shuffle any number of unique cards and cards with the word McMahon in the title from your ringside into your arsenal. This card is really, really good. You know, we're probably going to have a decent number of McMahon cards, and we're certainly going to have some unique cards. So I'm going to put that card in right now. Backed by Mr. McMahon Throwback. It's a heel pre-match event. Can only be played when your superstar value is greater than your opponent's superstar value. At the end of the pre-match phase, he does 3 of the following. Discards 2 cards, overturns 7 cards, skips his first turn of the game, plays with his hand revealed until the second turn of the match, allows you to draw up to 2, or concedes and loses the match. This is, again, another card that makes your opponent make some pretty bad decisions. So yeah, we're definitely going to have that. Managed by Vince McMahon Throwback. At the end of the pre-match phase, choose 2 of the following. Blank the text of a stipulation card in your opponent's ring area. Put a title belt from his ring area into his ringside pile. Put up to 2 cards from your ringside pile into your hand, or increase the number of mid-match you can have in your ring by +2. Super good card. And we already talked about Don't Cross the Boss. When Don't Cross the Boss is in your ring with Managed by Vince McMahon, your opponent's mid-match becomes -2, which can be really, really good. So yeah, we definitely want that. All right, McMahonism. Here's a great card. It is a pre-match allegiance McMahonism, unique, permanent, RMS. The first time during each of your turns you would draw cards outside of your draw segment, you may look at the top, look at that many cards from the top of your arsenal first, and you can put those cards on the bottom of your arsenal. You put any of those cards. When you are Vince McMahon, Shane O'Mac, the Genetic Jackhammer, or the McMahon Dynasty, you may use this effect during your draw segment instead. So this card basically makes Vince McMahon and the other ones listed there the game, because Prophet of McMahonism lets you look at 2 extra cards. So before each of your draw segments, you look at the top 3 cards, and you can put any of them on the bottom, which means you get to choose what card you're going to draw. And we'll talk about something else funny that you can do with that effect. McMahon Intervention, to take 25 Fortitude action. Requirement Allegiance McMahonism. Your opponent cannot respond to this card. When playing this card and Divine Intervention is in your hand, you may remove it from the game. If you do, this card is minus 20 Fortitude. Draw 12 cards. Then put 8 cards from your hand and 8 cards from your ringside on the bottom of your arsenal. Yes, this card is expensive, but it's really good, and there's nothing your opponent can do about it. Vince, guest ringside announcer. We cannot pack it, unfortunately. Both the original and the throwback are really good, but the good thing is our opponent can't play it against us. So yeah, there's some pretty good McMahon cards in the game. We're already at 47, so I'm sorry, hold the phone, but I have to. Candace, I think we're going to have enough recovery without Candace. 44 cards, that's not bad. We still have to add No Chance in Hell. Let me, I'll do that right now. No Chance. This is the throwback one. 12 Fortitude, action reversal. This card is, it's supposed to be minus 6. That was a misprint from Classic. This card is minus 6 Fortitude for every card titled Don't Cross the Boss in your ring area or ringside pile. Reverse any action and end your opponent's turn. Put any number of cards titled Don't Cross the Boss from your ringside pile into your hand. So I'm going to add, just because I can, I'm going to add 4. You know, why not? We could always add or get rid of. But we already have Volley This and No Chance in Hell, and we have a couple specific reversals and some more reversals we haven't got to yet. All right. So since we have lower Fortitude, we can get into those cards now. The first thing that came to my mind was Brutal Blindside Beating. It can be played from ringside and can only be played when you have lower Fortitude with a printed Fortitude 0 blindside maneuver from your ringside. And then they get some really great protection. This has become probably tied for everyone's favorite Get Started method, along with Flawless and Quick Snap. This one, however, is repeatable. So if it's reversed, you can play it again next turn unless it's removed. So we are technically right now cheater because of Jive Soul Bro and Shocking Interference. However, I might change that to fan favorite because Blindside Hook is the best card to pair with Brutal Blindside Beating. Otherwise, we would have to use Blindside Beal Toss, which is fine, but it's 2 less Fortitude. And unless we're going to run Blindside Aggression, we only get 1 of them. We're not going to run Blindside Aggression. So I'm going to add Brutal Blindside Beating and 1 Blindside Hook, which means I'm going to take out Shocking Interference and your Jive Soul Bro. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Those cards are both really good. But having almost guaranteed 6 Fortitude from the beginning is even better. So we can get rid of that now. Don't Cross the Boss. We already have that in here, so we can get rid of that tab. ECW. All right, let's look at the ECW cards. ECW and Sci-Fi, not worth it in this format. Extreme Rules match. I'm not sure if we're going to be relying too much on foreign objects. That seems like something I can throw up here. And then Superstar logo equals nothing. All right, so here's all the foreign objects. Stop sign we might want just because it's an action and action damage is tough. I'll add a stop sign. Table is hard to reverse. Not impossible to reverse. I'll put it in for now. That's face, that's face. Handcuffed. I don't think we really need it. Hardcore Timekeeper's Bell is a pretty underrated card in general, especially when you're an ECW superstar. But honestly, we're not going to have a ton of maneuvers in this deck, so I don't know how powerful it'll be. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot. Steel Chain Shot is good, but doesn't really do much for us. Contract Table. Remember, this card is not raw when it's packed by us, but I don't think it's worth it. We're not a diva. Singapore Cane is interesting because I'll add one. It is active, but if we pack Extreme Rules match, we would ignore the can only be played text on it. But I just don't know if we're gonna pack. Yeah, I don't. At the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna make it in. So Brass Knucks is a good high risk reversal, but I think we have enough stuff that'll be able to reverse it. Ring Steps is good, but it's a lot of fortitude. Yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be packing really any foreign object other than maybe table. So I don't think we're going to need Extreme Rules match. Can't pack that. All right, the House of Hardcore Bill. No reason for us not to pack this card. It's superstar specific. Can only be packed when you are an extremist or you have an ECW card in your backstage. Cannot be packed when packing NWO cards. Your foreign objects are -4 fortitude, and your opponent's non-unique reversals to your foreign objects and extreme cards deal no damage. Cards with ECW in the title do not take up a pre-match slot in your ring. So with this card, we get a lot of bonuses from it. You know, I think I will add Brass Knucks just because it's going to be 0 fortitude. So I'll add 1 Brass Knucks. But yeah, House of Hardcore Bill. Any foreign object that we play, opponent's reversals do no damage, which is good. And if we have any ECW pre-match cards, they won't take up a slot. We're not going to have the Allegiance. ECW is not a very good card. We don't have the Allegiance. There's the ECW Championship belt, but that doesn't really do anything for us. Let's look up the ECW in the name. There might be a couple different things. One Night Stand in a foreign object deck is really good, but like I said, we're not going to have many of those. Yeah, so I don't think, depending on how the rest of the deck goes, we might add some more, but it's not looking like we're going to really go that route. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add some shoot actions because 6 fortitude is pretty important to us right now because we're going to try to start with blindside hook every game. And that's 6 fortitude, and then if we have some shoot actions, then that can bridge into some more good stuff for us. And when you're packing any shoot card, you're going to want to pack shoot counter because it's super good. All right, so we're at 54 cards. Now let's look at some cards that we can take advantage of when we have lower fortitude because we always will. All right, so I think some of these older cards we're probably going to skip through. Backlash probably isn't a terrible card for us. We might not have room, but I'll put it in there just to remind me. We could pack the original Dirty Low Blow, which is easier to reverse because it's non-unique, but it's also pretty good because it's non-unique. However, with mid-match being tight, I don't think we're going to bother with that. Don't Mess with the Champ. We probably are going to pack a title belt, but again, I don't know if we'll have room. There's a couple of cards in particular that I'm going to be stopping on when we get there. Second Wind is kind of an underrated sneaky pack for Vince McMahon. So it's a 3 fortitude action. Can only be played when you have lower fortitude, which we always will. And when this card is in your ring area, if your opponent chooses to end his turn without playing a maneuver, that player must put one maneuver card from his ring area into his ringside pile. And normally it would remove itself when you have greater fortitude, but we never will. So this card is going to be in your ring until your opponent gets rid of it. I will add it for now, but again, mid-match. And, you know, if your opponent is like a heat or a blindside deck, you're obviously not going to play this card because then it just gives them more ammunition. But if your opponent is kind of a stall deck that relies on like Judo Choke and he just plays a draw-go game, then he has to get rid of one of those Judo Chokes, which could really hurt him. Yeah, not a lot of these are going to make it in. Undermine is absolutely going in. That's just so good. One of the best cards in the game. It can change games. Running Spinebuster is a card that we could play because it makes itself 0 fortitude. But it's just not very good in most decks, so we're not going to. Panic Assault, and we might, if we have room, we might add Panic Grab because I think if we could add a Judo Choke or two, that could add to the burn mechanics that we have kind of baked in. But again, look at all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're at 15 mid-match cards already. Again, so, you know, I'll put it in there, but again, we might not be able to do it. Superhold's another card we could play, but again, it's not great. All right, Comeback is one of the most degenerate things that Vince McMahon can do. So, of course, we're going to add more than one. Comeback Throwback. It's a 0 fortitude action. Discard one card. The player with the highest fortitude rating puts maneuver cards and reversal cards from his ring area into his ringside pile until his fortitude is not the highest. So if you remember, we always have lower fortitude. So this card clears your opponent's ring of any removable fortitude from maneuvers or reversals. That is disgusting. Knee Lift is a pretty underrated card with Vince McMahon. One, he can play it as a maneuver because it makes itself 0 fortitude. And two, as a reversal, when your fortitude rating is less than your opponent's fortitude rating, reverse any non-unique action card and end his turn. You know, you see less and less non-unique actions, but still dynamic actions and technical actions. You know, it might be worth adding one knee lift. And as a reversal, it's still 7 fortitude, but if we pop Vince McMahon interferes, then we can knee lift, and there's 5 fortitude for us. Oh, inmates are always running the asylum. Another great card that can destroy rings. Can only be packed by a GM or chairman, which we are. Can only be played when your fortitude rating is less than your opponent's fortitude rating, which it will be. Put any number of non-maneuver cards from your opponent's ring into his ringside. That includes any reversals with an effect, like sustained damage. That includes pre-match cards that aren't permanent. So yeah, this card is going in. And while I'm at it, super solo equals nothing. Card text equals contains chairman, because master manipulator basically should be a superstar specific for Vince McMahon. Can only be packed by a GM or chairman. As an action, look at your opponent's hand, choose one card, and he discards it. As a reversal, reverse any non-unique card and end your opponent's turn. Search his hand and arsenal for copies of that card and put them into his ringside pile. Super good. Also works from Arsenal. It's just really good. When you run the show, you make the rules. 12 Fortitude, unique action, can only be packed by GM or Chairman. During this turn and your next turn, your cards cannot be reversed from your opponent's backlash deck, and he skips his next turn. Again, on its own, it's a pretty okay card, but we already have like 16 mid-match, so I just don't think we'll have room. And then we got some throwbacks. Throwback commissioner rules. In us, it makes itself multi, which ironically makes it easier to reverse. So we're going to skip that one. All right, where were we? Yes, we were here. I don't think many of these. Oh, spot adjustment is a interesting card. When played from your hand, and when your fortitude rating is less than your opponent's fortitude rating, reverse any non-unique maneuver and end his turn. During your next turn, the first card you play is minus number fortitude, where number is equal to the fortitude value of the reverse maneuver. This is a card that I always want to put in a deck. And if you're going to, Vince McMahon is the one to do because you always have lower fortitude. I just wish it didn't have to be played from hand. That's not the end of the world. We're already at 59 cards. I'm going to put 2 in for now. They might come out, though. Shake It Off is a good card, but we just won't have the room for it. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have... Ready to Fight is a 0 fortitude action with Vince McMahon, but we're going to have a... I think we should have enough recovery as it is. Kick Out is another good card for Vince McMahon. All right, so Kick Out is 12 fortitude. It's an action/reversal. As an action, minus 10 fortitude, draw 1 card. As a reversal, when overturned, if your fortitude is less than your opponent's fortitude rating, reverse any non-unique maneuver and end your opponent's turn. When this card is in your ring and you have overturned damage from a maneuver, you may put this card into your ringside pile and then end your opponent's turn. I'm going to put 1 in for now, because if we can recycle this card, then we can reverse any non-unique maneuver, hopefully a couple of times. Shoot Forearm, if we did not add Blindside Hook, we would probably be packing Shoot Forearm just because it's a 0 fortitude, 9 damage strike with a good reversal restriction. But as it is, we are technically fan favorite. We can't play Shoot Lockup unless our opponent is a GM or a legend. For the Love of the Game is interesting because as an action, it can only be played when your fortitude is less than. But I just don't think we'll have room for it. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like, I could theoretically replace like a Panic Grab with it, but I just don't think it's worth it. Managed by Shane O'Mac is actually pretty good in Vince McMahon, but you're really incentivized to play Managed by Vince McMahon yourself. So we're gonna skip that one. There's some Revolution. Oh, say it with me. Format contains ass. All right. And I don't think many of these virtual cards are going. Drawing a Blank would be interesting in a Vince McMahon deck. The maneuvers that he can play that are blank aren't very good. It's like punch and hip toss and stuff like that. But you would always have lower fortitude, so you would kind of always have that drawing a blank protection. And then there's like Snap Neck Breaker and Spinning Kick, but they're heat and you have a lot of recovery, so they'll get removed. So again, maybe for a more fun deck, I think I'm trying to make this one a bit more of a competitive style deck. Yeah, none of these are really speaking to me. Great technical prowess in another build could be interesting with Vince McMahon because he can play technical monkey flip and technical drop kick because they're 0 fortitude. So even if has more fortitude, he always has lower, so he would always get to search when his technical is unsuccessful. Again, that sounds like more of a fun build than a competitive one. This kind of makes me want to pack Bad Blood because Insurrection is a pretty good card. Can only be played if your fortitude rating is less than your opponent's fortitude rating and if you have fewer reversal cards in your ring area than your opponent. When played from your hand, reverse any maneuver and end your opponent's turn. And he discards cards equal to the number of reversals that he has in his ring more than you have in your ring. That's pretty darn good when you always have lower fortitude. So, like, if your opponent keeps reversing your stuff, then, maybe Insurrection hits. But this deck kind of isn't as maneuver heavy as I thought it might be. And if you're going to pack Insurrection, then you're going to pack Bad Blood, which is a pre-match event, and you're going to pack Vengeance, which normally is the best card ever for Vince McMahon. When this card is in your ring area, when your opponent reverses a maneuver from his hand and your fortitude rating is less than his fortitude rating, look at his hand, choose one card, and he discards the chosen card. Wow, that's good. That's good. All right, so I'm going to put these in for now. And let's look up Bad Blood. Oh, not Nad Blood. Bad Blood. All right. Bad Blood is a pre-match pay-per-view event. It's Raw. Can only be played when there is a feud card in any ring area. I don't think we have one of those right now. Search your arsenal for the cards titled Insurrection and Vengeance and a superstar-specific maneuver. Reveal them to your opponent, put them in your hand, and shuffle. Your hand size is -3. So I'm going to get rid of any Mech Attack now because there's no way it's going in. So what maneuver would we get? We could get the Lead Pipe. But I think if we're going to get a superstar-specific maneuver, then it's probably going to be Zero Tolerance. I'll put this in for now. But again, might not make it. I'm going to kind of rearrange these in an order that I kind of want to play them in. All right. So I have 63 cards in my arsenal now. One thing I kind of want to do is turning everything upside down is good in Vince McMahon. So I'm going to replace... I'm going to add it. Because since we're going to have knowledge, since we could potentially have knowledge of the top of our arsenal, turning everything upside down becomes a good card because we could cheat a card into our ring, such as like Vengeance if we don't successfully play it. All right, so I'm going to put in some throwback judo chokes. I'm going to add 2 for now. All right, we're at 65 cards. We need to start trimming some fat. To be honest, Chairman's Judgment isn't looking tremendous right now because it just reverses a non-maneuver, and I think we have plenty of non-maneuver reversals. And unless opponent is doing setup action spam, or not even setup because it doesn't work for setup. Yeah, I'm already gonna trim it. I kind of want 3 of these, but we might have to settle for 2. Lead Pipe Shot's great. I'll cut 1 elbow. Honestly, we don't have a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have 5 McMahon cards, so honestly, is McMahon Family Values going to be worth it? We don't have a ton of unique cards either. We have some, but we don't have a ton, so I think I'll just get rid of it. 2 cards that we have to cut. I think Spot Adjustment is probably going to be the victims. I could cut like Knee Lift, maybe. I could cut I'm going to pack 3, no chance, because, that's sometimes all you need. One more card. I do want 2 sidewalk slams. I suppose we wouldn't need 3 kiss my ass, but I like it a lot. Back by Steph is kind of sticking out as a card that just seems like it's going to get reversed a lot. But if your opponent has a high value, then it can really do some burn damage, which we do like. I'll cut 1, come back. All right, so we're at 60 right now. We don't have a ton of maneuvers. 1, 2, technically 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have like 6, 7, 8, 9, 9-ish maneuvers. And a couple of them, we're not going to do much with them as maneuvers. So we're going to kind of rely on some burn, I think. Wondering if No Way Out might be a good thing to pack, but all right, so I need a feud. So let's look at Superstar logo equals blank. Format contains ass. Card type feud. I need a decent feud. Bitter Rivals. I want a belt, so I'm not gonna play Bitter Rivals and risk me not getting one. Trash Talking Interview's not terrible. Tech in a Bottle. What could I get with that? Chain Heat, Volley, Face, Heal, or has Blindside, or Precision, or Technical in the title. I do have a Blindside. I have a Heal maneuver as well. Does he make it not heal? Oh, it is heal. Um, hmm. Hmm. All right, let me read this again. Search your arsenal for a non-unique maneuver that is Chain Heat, Volley, Face Heal, or has Blindside, Precision, or Technical in the title. During your turn, you can play a non-multi card under this card as if from hand. If you do, put this card into your ringside. When there's a card under this card, blah, blah, blah. During your turn, when there are no cards under this card, you may overturn one and put this card on top of a pre-match card in your opponent's ring. I might do that just for the effect of putting a card on top of opponent's pre-match card. Because honestly, I aim to be starting something is my next guess, my next choice. Yeah. How many pre-match? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't think we'll need a no-show. I don't think we have brass knucks, and then like I could get a manager interferes, I guess. I think it depends on what I'm gonna put in. I guess I'll leave it for now. There is a venue that I want. Where is it? Rochester. This could help us cycle Rochester. Once during each of your turns, put 1 card from your hand on top of your arsenal, and then shuffle 1 card from your ringside into your arsenal. Really good, especially when we have a number of reversals that we can overturn. So that card becomes pretty good. Of course, it dies to Old School Cage Match, but that's a risk I'm willing to take in most games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12. And I kind of don't think I'm going to pack no show. Then again, I don't even know if I need bad blood, to be totally honest with you. And if I don't have bad blood, then I don't need to feud. Let's see. McMahonism. I think this is so far the hardest Git Gud that I've had to make, just because Vince has so many good things that you really have to think when you're making them, like, what am I going to do with his stuff? I have 30 cards in my backlash right now. This is insane. I think for the most part, the arsenal is kind of all set. Yeah, I aims to be starting something, and bad blood are kind of sticking out like sore thumbs, if I'm being totally honest. So I think I'm going to ditch those. I think I can ditch both of these, but they're still decent, to be honest. Even if I don't have them in my opening hand, they're still decent cards. But I just don't know without bad blood. And there's probably something else I can put in their place. Let me just do a card text for overturns. Daddy's little girl. Not terrible, but I just don't think it's for us. I got a leg up on you. That's basically Enter the Stratosphere, but not as good. Playing Possum. When he successfully plays a maneuver, he overturns one. Might add a third judo choke. That can come in handy. Backed by Teddy Long. Not terrible. Backfire's good, but again, mid-match slots. Oh, we can technically pack this card, can't we? Dirty Taker. That's a decent overturn. Speaking of overturn and speaking of SmackDown, Escape to the Side is a card I love. I think I put it in the last deck that I made here, which was Evan Bourne. When overturned, reverse any strike or grapple. No exceptions. So, yeah. We have a number of overturn stuff, so we're gonna lean into that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can have 2 pre-match cards. What are we looking at for slots? All right. 1, 2, 3. This won't count because it'll give itself +1. This will get +2 from the chairman's walk. So with that in mind, 1, 2, doesn't count, doesn't count, doesn't count. 3, doesn't count, doesn't count, doesn't count. 4. So we have 2 full slots. We don't have to need to cheat something in. I'm gonna look up some belts. I don't think we'll need the undisputed belt because we have enough pre-match cards. But I think where are they? The big belts, as I love to call them. The World Heavyweight title belts, +4 value, cannot be packed when packing other title belts. Other cards cannot alter your superstar value. And before your draw segment of the first turn, put number of cards for your hand on the bottom and then draw that many where number is up to your superstar value. So that's pretty good. And we kind of want that early so our opponent doesn't get it. So I'll probably put that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, I guess we'll start from the bottom. I don't think any of these guest ringside announcers are going to be too much. I don't think they're going to be too helpful. Can't pack any other belts, so let's just skip right past those. No Way Out. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, why not? I don't think I have another. I don't think I have another pay-per-view event because we took out Bad Blood. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to No Way Out. Now this card can come back to haunt you because I've had games where my opponent has No Way Out and I've reversed the overturn a couple of times. But you know what? That happens. All right, so we got to cut some mid-match cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right. We want those. We want that. So honestly, this card isn't very good with Vince McMahon because of the first line of text. When playing this card, ignore remember who pays your salary for the rest of the turn. When you have lower fortitude, can only be averse and merciful. So if we actually have lower fortitude, then this card is normal. But otherwise, I mean, considering we have to cut 7, that might not make it, but we'll come back. Backlash, I want to keep it, but we might not. Don't Cross McMahon, again, I want to keep it, but we might not. I think we can cut Second Wind. Road to Victory is definitely getting cut. Man, we haven't even put like King Interferes in here yet. Oh, geez. Yeah, Second Wind's going to go because I kind of want King Interferes. Because we do get Raw and SmackDown cards. 30. We have to cut 6 mid-match. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I think Backlash can probably go. Don't Cross McMahon. We'll get rid of 1. I kind of want these panic grabs to make the judo choke stick, but there's no guarantee of that happening. Outside is such a good card. Why does Vince McMahon have so many good cards? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get rid of both Don't Cross McMahon's and Backlash and Dirty Low Blow. I don't want to get rid of any of those. Normally, I wouldn't run Cow and Upside Down, but I kind of planned on using Upside Down as an action to cheat like a judo choke into my ring. But to be totally honest, Upside Down might be the one to cut. Because unless I have like this on top, that's the only other card that, if it's cheated in, will do much of anything. Yeah. I guess Kick Out could as well, but that's not really worth it. So I think Upside Down is actually going to be the one to go. Which is sad. But I can't. I mean, Undermine is. Honestly, it might be Undermine because I have Comeback and I have Inmates. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Alright, Panic's gonna go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Undermine is so good. Shoot counter is so good. Unscrupulous is so good. Reach is good. Like, do I get rid of reach? Ah, one-on-one with the Undertaker. That card won me a tournament game in the last tournament. Man, I guess it's between cow and upside down. I'll get rid of cow. Fine. Oh, that sucks. All right. So I think this is the deck. This has easily been the most difficult one of these that I've done. I'm really anxious to try this deck because Vince McMahon's got super, super good cards. So, whenever I play it next, we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Until then, have a good one.